Welcome. In a previous video, I talked about the benefits and drawbacks of both renting versus owning. In this video, I want to talk about the different factors that you need to consider when you're deciding whether you should rent a place or own a place. And when I talk about whether you should rent or own a place, I'm talking about this point in time, because things could change in a year for you, in 5 years, 10 years. But I'm talking about right now. What is your situation right now as you're deciding whether you should rent or own a place? One of the big things to consider is your income and job situation. Is it stable? Do you have a job that you anticipate having for a very long time, or at least the foreseeable future, whether it's that job or that industry? Is your income stable? Do you know what you're getting every month? Is it the same? Or do you have a job that might be stable in of itself, but the income fluctuates? Maybe it's commission-based, and some months are really good, some months are a little bit more of a struggle. Or are you jumping from job to job? Or are you still trying to find your place in the job world and what kind of career you want, and maybe jumping from industry to industry, which can have huge income changes? So that's one of the bigger factors to consider. Next, do you plan on staying in one place for a while, or you feel like maybe you want to move, or you don't know? If you feel like you want to stay in the same city for a long enough time, you want to put down roots, then owning might be a good choice. But if you're not sure, or you do plan on going, then while it doesn't preclude you from owning, it does make it more difficult when you do want to move. So that does need to be a factor to consider. What's your credit score and your credit history? Now, you do need a decent credit score in order to get a conventional or FHA or VA loan. There are loans out there where you can get a mortgage with a lower credit score, but it's going to be pretty costly. It'll be costly in interest rate and a lot of down payment. There are ways to improve your credit score, and we can talk about that anytime you want. You just give me a call. And in terms of improving your credit score, if you want to own, and that's something down the line that you plan on doing, it's good to have a plan in place so you can get that improvement made. So when you are ready to own, your credit score will let you do that. Now, how about savings? You do need some savings if you're going to own a place. And there's two big reasons for that. One is for purchasing the property, down payment and closing costs. Now, I'll talk in a future video about how to get down payment assistance. Washington State does offer some phenomenal down payment assistance. But for general purposes, the minimum down payment for most conventional loans is 3%, and for FHA, 3.5%. And then the more down payment that you put, the lower your monthly payments. So it isn't that you have to have 20% down, but having some down payment is important, as well as closing costs, and those are two separate things. Also, if you're going to own a home, you need to have a little bit of savings in case maintenance issues come up. You never know what's going to come up or when it's going to come up, so you need a little bit of a buffer. So last, what is your budget, your monthly budget? You need to know if you have enough room in your monthly budget to afford the property you're interested in purchasing. And that includes enough room in there for a little bit of discretionary spending, such as for maintenance or whatnots. So looking at the purchase price of what you're anticipating, you need to know if you can afford that monthly payment comfortably. And the more down payment you put, the lower the monthly cost. But again, there are ways to get into a home with low or zero down, but you're going to have a little bit more monthly cost. So quick recap, a few things to consider if you're deciding whether you should own or rent. What is your income and job, whether it's stable or fluctuating, whether you plan on staying in one place or moving, knowing what your credit score is, having a little bit of savings or a lot of savings better, and then what is your monthly budget. If you have any more questions about that, feel free to give me a call anytime. I'd love to chat with you. Beyond that, have a good evening.